I love the idea of being able to change more lives than what I can, and just with my own hands and with my own town. It all starts with really investing in your team and having the team members feel like they are also appreciated and really feel valued. Our mission is to inspire hope through reviving smiles, through compassionate care, rooted in faith and excellence. Really being able to empower my staff, my team, and see their lives also be changed. And it's like that mission statement. It's not just for our patients, that's also for our staff. I think everyone needs to have a mission, because you're gonna have the low days and the high days, and you always have to have a constant, right? And so
Welcome back to The Doers, the podcast where we dig into the real stories behind building, struggling, and thriving in dentistry. I'm your host, Dan Hall, and today's guest embodies exactly what this show stands for. People who don't wait for the perfect plan, who take unconventional paths and build something meaningful through action, discipline, and attention. Today's guest is Jacob Smith. He leads Exo Dental, a group making a real impact for patients who need full mouth reconstruction, which is some of the most complex dentistry. It's emotionally charged. It's a big decision. It can be life-changing. And these folks need more than clinical excellence, which is super important during this time. They need trust, consistent experience, and a team that can deliver predictability. Jacob, welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining me today. And let's hear a little bit about your story.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan, for having me. This is amazing.
Yeah. So how did you find yourself in dentistry? I mean, you're doing some of these cases, like I said, that are really complex. You got this comforting way about yourself. How did you land there?
Yeah. So, my journey into dentistry was not necessarily atypical. I mean, I had some parents that were really pro healthcare and influenced me in that capacity. So, going into dentistry was kind of predetermined for my life in a way. But landing on full arch specifically, was just kind of one thing led to another. I really enjoyed the surgical aspect of dentistry, and found that these patients, there's a lot out there that need this type of treatment. And so I found that this was kind of an underserved market in a lot of ways, and it's very rewarding just to bring somebody's smile back to life.
No, that's amazing. So I just want to take a jump back. I mean, because it's really cool. We'll dive into the work you're doing and how you do this. And so dentistry wasn't in the plan. So what was your plan? I get it. I'm probably one of those parents that's driving my child in a certain direction. What did you want to do?
Man, I grew up in the stage of life where video games were just everywhere. And so I grew up as a gamer kid. I skateboarded a lot. I didn't really have a whole lot of determination. And so, at that point in life, I did lean on my the guidance from my parents. And so
Okay.
as I was going through schooling, I ended up, funny story, I actually dropped out of high school at 16, got my GED, and decided to go the atypical path of education, and went straight into college actually. But at that point, dentistry was always kind of in the background. It was hey, you should be a doctor, lawyer, dentist, one of these, professions that you can count on long term. And so dentistry was actually the leftover choice out of my siblings. My oldest brother's an attorney, and the other brother that I have is a doctor. So naturally, I had to end up with the dental profession. And as I was going down that path, I was pre-dental, and I was 18, 19 years old when I was accepted into dental school, because I started early. And I finally had an awakening moment where I was I don't know anything about dentistry. What am I doing? Maybe I should consider doing the thing that I know best, which is gaming. And so I actually flew down here to Orlando, interviewed at a school to do game development. And it didn't go over well with my parents. And at that time, and again, I was a kid. So I really leaned on their feedback, and so decided not to go that route. But that was my one rebellious moment as a kid. I'm going to do what I want. And so I came back, went to dental school, but I was a little bit, I had some resentment. Okay, to be honest with you, I was a little bit I don't know if this is really what I decided for myself. And so, kind of long story short, I ended up going through the motions, became a dentist, and found that if I'm going to do this, I need to do it my way. And and my way was not like open a private practice, out of school and just like live there forever and live happily ever after. It was a little different, but I discovered that I did love like the business side, but that came later. So it wasn't right out of the gates. It was like, I need to figure out what I like in dentistry, and that ended up being surgery, and then eventually led to me opening up practices.
Man, that's a really cool story. So you're 18, 19.
Yeah.
Get accepted dental school.
Yeah.
Want to double check on that other option you had in the back of your mind that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's a really cool story. But also, too, like the thing I find fascinating about the whole thing is the high level of self-awareness. I mean, to be able to understand, like, hey, maybe I should check this thing out, bounce it off my parents, all right, see what their thoughts are, and then choose your path. Very cool. So as you think about EXO and you're talking about the process, because you said you like the business side. So when a patient calls into EXO, what happens that's different than that other practice that can do their full arch?
Yeah. So, we had to do a full arch practice. There's a lot of systems that go into it. It's not just like, put your sign on your door and just anybody and everybody needs your service. So you can just treat, all ages and everybody in the neighborhood. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into like bringing the right person in the door and creating that experience that is warm and welcoming, because a lot of our patients, they're at a rough point in life and they need some type of experience or hope that can get them to move forward with treatment, because they've procrastinated a lot. And so our typical patient hasn't been to a dentist in 10, 15, 20 years or maybe ever. And a lot of them are rooted in like previous poor experiences at other dentist offices. And so it's our job to communicate with them effectively and also let them know this is a safe place, safe environment. And so when they first contact our office, typically it's from some type of online marketing platform, right? Because we have to get in front of them. And, they answer some questions, make sure that they're a good fit just from the treatment standpoint of what we offer. And, by the time they get on the phone with somebody, we actually, we have what we call patient advocates. They're working remotely. They're not in the office. They're not distracted from, all the other busyness that's going on in the office. So when they answer the calls, like they can give them their full undivided attention. And so these patients are getting somebody that's, able to educate them on the front end, make sure this is a good fit. Again, we're like constantly verifying, like, is this a good fit for you as a patient for this practice? And so, but we educate, and we just talk them through the process. And so by the time they arrive at the office, they're already at a different level of confidence in what we're offering and who we are as a company. And we just kind of, we literally just got a review yesterday that was like, they mentioned like 5 or 6 people's names by name. That was like, great experience. I got to meet, this person who answered the phone. Like they knew everybody by name. It was really cool, like to like see that like we actually are making an impact from like the phone to the front desk to the treatment coordinator that sees the patient at the beginning, and then to the doctor, of course. And so, there's a relationship that's being built, each step of the way.
That's remarkable. So you removed them from the practice so they can focus solely on that patient who's calling in at a time when they're probably super vulnerable, right? Probably took a lot to make that phone call.
Yeah.
They're not distracted. I'm always curious. I poll people when I speak on like, how often do you train your team? Like, what does that look like? I mean, is this an ongoing thing? Are you training them super often or?
Yeah, there is a constant collaboration, calibration that's occurring in our practices to make sure that, it's one thing to have one team, right? And having multiple teams in different states, like that's a whole nother thing, right? So education on the front end, we try to onboard our team members with, abundant resources and somebody that's going to walk them through each step of the way. But I really invest in my team members. Like pretty much any position in my company has the basically we will bring them to conferences. We will give them whatever they need to be successful.
Well, this is where this came from. You and I were talking at the conference.
Yeah.
We were both just at, and you did have your whole team to get training on how to.
That's right. Yeah, I had
sharpen their skills.
A good number of people we brought at that last conference. We had 10 people with us. And so it's a heavy investment, and it's hard because, in an era where I feel like, turnover is not just at our offices, but just like anywhere, and especially dentistry. I feel like it's just a hard environment to, keep people from an early stage in life, because you get dental assistants that are like,
Sure.
teenagers sometimes, and just keeping them on the team, like really developing it into a career for them. And so yeah, I mean, we find that it's better to invest in our people, and hopefully that clicks. And if they don't stay forever, then at least, hopefully they've taken something out, and they will always remember that, Exo Dental provided them with, a good foundation, right?
Oh, that's amazing. So no matter where, hopefully they stay, but hopefully put them in a little bit better spot for their next stop on the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads to actually so one of our core values is purposeful growth. And that's actually one of the things that really excites me and drives me to even build a business, because I think it's really easy to, be like customer facing and centric, where everything's about the customer. And so I think that's incredibly important. But I do think that it all starts with like really investing in your team and having the team members feel like they are also appreciated and really feel valued. And so for me, like one of my big passions is to actually like find people who are really looking for a team environment where they can grow, and also somebody that's willing to invest in them, and really just unlock potential, because that's really exciting to see a young person or even an older person that just never was maybe believed in, and they just need that spark, and then they just become an amazing asset to your team.
That is so cool. Yeah, I mean, I love hearing the stories like that. I had a question about that at our company event recently. Is how do you know when you're working for somebody that is giving you that opportunity? Mm-hmm. And you just kind of like check most of the boxes I told people to look for, right? It's going to be indicators that they're making that investment in you. So good for you on doing that and building up your team and to support your business and your patients. I want to shift gears for 1 second, because we got the people portion covered, kind of what that experience looks like when they first come into your practice and when the phone rings. Let's talk about tech that sticks. What's your philosophy on technology? And I'm can't wait to hear your response, given how you wanted to go a different path. You wanted to go into tech, and now you're in dentistry. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, what's really exciting about owning and operating a business is you do have the ability to, invest in different technologies and systems and processes. And so we're living in a really interesting time where, it's hard not to talk AI when you're talking tech. And so but it's interesting, because it's like you have infinite options. And so really trying to dial in like what is really absolutely needed, because at the beginning I was like, I shotgunned it, and I just like I signed up with so many softwares, hence why CareStack was one of those softwares, and I made really great decisions early on and not so great ones, and I just kind of like had to figure out, like, trim the fat, like what's the stuff that's absolutely necessary for me, and some of it's not applicable anymore, because when we first opened, we were like all in on insurance and certain things that we don't we're more fee for service now, so it's like we don't need the RCM platforms as much, and as some of it we've brought internally, like the whole call center side, we've played around with virtual assistants, and we've kind of come full circle on some of this stuff, but certainly like there's, for every part of our business aspect, we've considered a technology piece for it,
Okay.
So yeah, and the AI side, I think it's just really made, I'm pretty much primarily business now. I mean, I see patients one day a week here and there, but I'm really like dabbling in like all things AI, because it's just like it's made my life more efficient at home, whether it be like, I don't know, organizing my inbox, or like, drafting, meeting agendas, or whatever, it might be. It's been a really amazing tool.
I love to use the phrase augmentation, right? Like,
yeah.
We're just augmenting some intelligence here,
right,
helping people be a little bit more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
It's great that you, might not be great if you rewind the clock and think about yourself shotgunning it,
mm-hmm.
To use your terminology there, but at least you were willing to try some stuff and see what would stick,
mm-hmm.
and then go back and eliminate. Great process there. So I want to shift gears, just go over to like you as a person, go through a rapid fire just see what kind of makes you tick. So is there a particular book that helped shape you in any of your, whether it's business or back in your skateboarding days, whatever it may have been?
Yeah, so I'm much more a podcaster, but I also do audiobooks. And let me start by saying the book that shaped me the most is the Bible. It's a historical book that you might have heard of. And so we're a faith-based organization, so everything that we try to we're very purpose-driven, and I use that as kind of like my guiding light. And so that's been obviously the most impactful for me. But from like a business personal kind of approach, I think the E-Myth book was really fascinating for me, and it's basically just like a story about why not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. You take the professional side of your work and you try to turn it into something that's scalable, and it's like understanding that that's not really how it works all the time. And so that was really, I read that actually after I started opening my business. I was like, I'm kind of late for this, but it still was like, oh man, this could have been used earlier. That was good. That was a good book. But I also am notorious for like starting books and like not finishing them. So like I've started
you would actually do a book club.
Lots of books. And I could like, it's funny, like the book Extreme Ownership is one of those that I've like partly read or listened to, and like I pretend like I know the whole book because I'm like, yeah, extreme ownership, and like I understand the concept, I think. But so I definitely I've been influenced by a lot of books, but yeah, I would say those are two that just
to make a quarter or halfway through.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know. Some of them.
Maybe my wife gives me a hard time. She's like, "Why do you have all these books with like a bookmark halfway through?"
There was this app that I had downloaded that was like a book summary app, and it was like, and I used to commute to work like an hour every day, and during that time I was like, well, I just want to finish a book during every commute, and so like it would take a whole book and like consolidate it down to like 10-15 minutes, and I'd listen to it like on like 2x, so it was like super fast. And so I think that it's funny, like now when I think back like about books I've read, I'm like, did I do a summary on it, or did I actually read the whole thing? But I still got like, I extracted all the juicy stuff out of them. So
yeah, you're getting the pearls.
That's
that you need.
right.
That's
the
important stuff.
Pearls.
Yeah. So let's go back to your meetings, because you do a lot of coaching. What's a meeting that you've eliminated and that was your best decision to eliminate?
So, meetings. I am at that point where I'm still dialing in this process. Like as I leave the office and the clinical aspect, and I just focus more on my I guess leadership team. I'm not in the office, so I can't see what's happening on a day-to-day level. So like I need like meetings, but I also don't want to have meetings with like every individual. So I kind of like am still in that process where I'm forming meetings between people in the office and my leadership team, and then having them kind of like deliver that feedback to me. And so I don't have like a perfect meeting schedule yet. I mean, we have meetings with our providers, where I meet with all the doctors once a week. We have meetings where the doctors are meeting with assistants. We have meetings where the front office is meeting with their managers on site. We have meetings where like I'm meeting with leadership team. I have an HR meeting. So, but I think more importantly is like not which meetings to eliminate, but just like what to eliminate in those meetings, because those meetings can turn into like, it's like supposed to be a 15-minute check-in, and it's like it turns into a lot of other stuff, and it's like, well, wow, do I need to have multiple meetings with the same person every week? And it's like, well, that's not really efficient either. So yeah, I think we're still dialing that in, man. It's communication is the key to running a successful organization, right? And so I'm at that point where I'm still kind of like adding. I'm like, do I need another meeting for this?
You might have to find that book summary out there.
Like, yeah, where's that meeting book at?
So. I have one question here. When you look at Exo and what you've built here and where you're at with it, what are you most proud of when you think of this journey?
Yeah, I do really love, being able to treat patients on a mass level. Like I love the idea of being able to change more lives than what I can, and just with my own hands and with my own town and city. And so being able to empower a team to do treatment and drive our mission and vision, which our mission is to inspire hope through reviving smiles, through compassionate care, rooted in faith and excellence. So like that's our mission, and I think we do a good job of embodying that as a team. But I think just basically, treating more people on and these, again, like I mentioned before, like these patients, they need some comprehensive care, right? And it's really life-changing for them. And but also just like really being able to empower my staff and my team and see their lives also be changed. And it's like that mission statement is not just for our patients, like that's also for our staff, maybe not the reviving smiles through dentistry, but just like basically sparking joy and hope in their lives through finding a team that cares.
Love the mission. I mean, I feel like when you take an approach like that, the success, whether it's measured in money or locations or whatever you're going to measure it on, is going to kind of follow.
Yeah.
If you're focused on the principal goal there in your mission. Yeah,
and I think everyone needs to have a mission, because like just going through the motions every day, it's really hard to just find your, where's your North Star, and like why are you doing what you're doing? Because you're gonna have the low days and the high days, and like you always have to have a constant, right? And so the mission and the vision and the winning statement, we even have one of those, is like really what kind of helps us kind of recalibrate whenever we're feeling off.
Well, thanks for sharing, and thanks for being on the show as well too. I feel like you really embody the Doers philosophy there of just grinding away, building a business, uplifting people, and learning from it, right? You're pulling lessons learned out of it, which is great. Thank you all for listening today. This is a great episode with Jacob from Exo. How would they reach out to you if anybody wants to get a pearl of wisdom from one of your multiple portions of a book, or how you're running your business?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So you can contact me, smith@exodental.com.
Okay.
That's pretty straightforward. My phone number is 573-380-8867. I'm super open. You can text me.
Wow.
Call me too.
Okay.
Just like that. Just
Very
like
cool.
that. I'm an open book.
If you like this, tune in. We'll have some great episodes coming up as well too. But again, thanks again, Jacob, for being on the show. Appreciate it. Until next time, keep doing the work, everybody.